Doing?
Hi, what's your name, sir?
I'm Papa Dan.
Papa Dan.
Yeah, I'm Papa Dan.
Papa Dan?
Yeah, it's my
Where you
company,
coming
my
from,
business.
Papa?
But yeah.
Say
So I've
what,
been on
sir?
your show before. Yeah, I've been on your show before, like back in 2022 when you at
Wow,
first got
3 years
it.
ago.
Yeah, a little minute ago. Yeah, so then that was back when I was in Florida. I live in St. Louis now, so
We've grown so much. We got the Kendra Cam, we got a dating app. So you want to
yeah,
do it again?
I'm here to try again. Different city, new people. You know what I mean? So let's go for it.
Let's go for it. What's your name, sir? You said Pop. So what am I going to call you?
You can call me Daniel, Papa Dan. That's
Daniel.
no
Daniel, and you're in St. Louis now?
St. Louis now.
How old are you?
33, going on 34.
Okay, and what's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Pisces, March 5th, baby.
Okay. You have any kids?
I have a son.
How old is your son?
He's gonna be 2. He's another Pisces, just like his daddy.
Why you
So
not with the mama?
he's March 10th.
Why you not with the mama? You had a baby since you've been on my show too.
Yeah. Another person trying to run the system, trying to take advantage, you know.
She you?
Yeah, you can say that. We as a man, I can't really run with that narrative because nobody really believe it. But yeah, I put it on the Bible that that's what happened, you know, because that is my prodigy. So nevertheless, how he got here, that's what we doing.
I need the details of how you got about a girl.
She is not a citizen of America. So naturally, if you've been in America illegally, you know, you're gonna try to do your best to try to stay. And in your mind and way of thinking, not even if you ask any of your homegirls that's international too, they'll tell you ain't a good idea to just go up sleep with an American dude and just try to have a baby so you can try to stay in America, hoping he will marry you. That's what they be hoping they gonna marry you. No, they ain't gonna get Papa Dan. No, ain't gonna get me.
Papa Dan. So
Whoa.
I wanted you to explain your side.
What's up?
With all that being said, you still have to willingly have. This is why I said because that's the only way a woman could trap you.
Right.
But if you willingly had sex with her, then
Right.
you participated. So did you willingly have sex with her?
I mean, she got me. I used to make wine back then, so like I said, on the level of accountability,
Don't see Bill Cosby? You see,
So that wine do be strong when you make it on your own.
gave you a pill?
For me, I can say on a level of accountability, you know, when a woman wraps their legs around you in the process of you being on top and you trying to relinquish yourself from the situation, and she's saying, "No, dude, you ain't going nowhere. You gonna have my baby." And in that moment, as a dude, you're like, "All right, well, shit, we gonna do Plan B like we normally do." And then she looked at me like, "No, we ain't doing that neither." So, you know, I was like,
okay. So again, so she's letting you.
Well, raw dog.
You know all this in the act, and you still went through with it. So
sure.
Great.
You know what? You know, women's rights, her body, her choice.
Exactly. So here's the deal: her body, her choice. But you can decide not to put your body inside her body. That
very well. So, and that's the level of accountability that I have in the situation.
Yeah, he's
I used to be a
accountability.
winemaker. She got me drunk off my own supply. I don't ever drink my own supply. 13% alcohol content. She said, "Ooh, Daniel, come and drink this wine with me in the room. I'm gonna bring a glass." I ain't trying to, you know. But my dumb self did what it did, and that's just the level of accountability I have for it.
Well, at least you're taking accountability, right? It's a good thing.
So here we are today, you know, trying to hope and pray we can find a wholesome woman that could treat your boy right. Somebody with some knowledge on her side that has been through the trenches and know how tough it is in this dating pool that got all the piss in it, you know? We're all a work in progress out here, you know?
I'm going to stop it there before I play the rest, but what do you guys take thus far about what you just heard?
Yeah.
That shit sound pitiful.
Why does it sound pitiful?
Oh, dudes sound like what we would call the stain.
Call it what?
A stain.
What do you call it?
A stain, a lick, something to come up off of. He was a come up.
You know how you,
yeah,
but Viz, you know how you can fix that? By getting the experience as a young man. I believe we talked about this before. But
I
yeah,
agree.
some individuals said you shouldn't be exposed or experienced with women because of you won't be wholesome, self-righteous, virgin maybe, and no experience lead to count like cats like him. Now, one thing I don't agree with what she was saying, just because I get the party started, doesn't mean I can't say no, because a woman could say no once we get started. If she in the middle of the session, she says, Hank, I don't want it no more. I got to get up and get out. That man can do the same thing. There's nothing wrong with a man said, stop mentioning, hey, I don't want no more of this dry pussy. Daniel pussy, your stink. I don't want no more of your stink ass pussy, Danielle. Yeah, you got to go. And she can't force me to finish the job. I got the right to say no. I'm gonna leave it there.
Hey, but hold on, I gotta respond to Hank real quick. Now that's different because I'm assuming dude was paying for that. You know, it seemed like he under the Passport Bros Act. Dude was paying for that, so that goes out the window with that one, bro.
God damn, Viz.
I'm with you though. I'm with you though. I was in agreement with it to an extent, but for dude, no, that nigga paid for it. He paying for that, man. He went over there. He was tricking, did the dummy, hit her raw. It's like, come on, man. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I guess
I
let's
think
pose it
I
this
think
way.
he was
Let's
a
say for the sake,
victim. He just said that lady wrapped that we're talking about a victim. He just said this lady got him drunk and wrapped her legs around him so he couldn't get up. So I think that
Yeah,
matters
but
more here.
oh, maybe that's the patriarchy in me. Yeah, he
Y'all
don't
so
sound
mad.
he
Y'all
don't sound like a
so
he don't sound like a
y'all
victim.
so mad.
You know,
Anybody
well,
who is being held against their will and not able to stop,
did
and
you not
also
see him
being
smiling the entire time when he was telling the story?
it doesn't matter your expression talking about your situation where you were a victim. Some people laugh during, some people have a orgasm during, they still, that's a bodily function. If somebody is holding you down and wrapping their legs around you and getting you drunk so you can get a baby, so they can get a baby and stay in the country, that's a victim. And when we talk about double standards, but y'all not acknowledging that a man was held against his will, y'all not even giving y'all people the benefit of the doubt, which is crazy. But
Y'all
I'll
people.
yield.
Oh, damn, all right. I mean, again, was was he held in a position that he didn't want to be held in? In my opinion, he didn't, because if you did, then you would have wore a condom. I get it. I get it. I'm not showing empathy or whatever. I'm not giving them pity, whatever the case may be. But to me, a sane person is going to say, hey, if I don't want to get trapped by this girl, as being a man, as we're supposed to be saying, we're supposed to be making men leaders. So to me, it's, if you don't want to get trapped, you know that women, he's paying for it. So women is going to wrap their legs around you. You know what I'm saying? When it's feeling good or they don't want you to pull out, bro, just wear a rubber, bro.
so Viz, let me
So
ask
is
you a
this not
question.
a double standard?
It
Wait,
is a double standard.
Okay.
wait. So let me ask you a question, Viz. So if a woman knowingly have unprotected sex with a man and she doesn't want a child, and when she tries to get up off of him before he releases, he grabs her and pulls her in tight and doesn't let her go and releases inside of her, as she's saying, no, I don't want you to release in me, you would say, hey, you knew you shouldn't have went in, you shouldn't have let him hit raw.
Yes.
Ooh,
It's called accountability. That's the problem. I'm all for double standards. I understand that there are double standards. There are some double standards that I stand by, but in that situation, absolutely not. We have to hold people accountable, because you're playing with a life. You're playing with a child that's going to come into the world that in a situation that's not ready for it to be there. So we have to hold these adults that are making decisions willingly, knowing that if I don't wear rubber, even if she don't hold me in, or even if he don't force himself back into me, you can still get pregnant off pre-cum. So it's at what point are we going to use our brains and logic here to hold grown adults accountable? That's all I'm saying. So in
He
that
held
case,
himself accountable.
that double standard I don't agree with. I'm holding everybody accountable.
He held himself accountable. He also said, as flawed as it is, he took steps. So I, he held himself accountable. So no one needs to hold him accountable. He took responsibility the whole time during that conversation and took breaks to even mention it.
Okay.
But he still has a choice in the matter regardless. Because you could have sex and pull out, and then if you are nervous, you could get a plan B. Now, if somebody is pregnant after those two methods, then yeah, you go and take accountability and be like, yeah, it happened. I tried. I didn't want it to happen, but it happened. Should they use a condom? For sure. But he acknowledged that. That's why I didn't, with respect to his point, it's no need to hold him accountable. You still could see him as a victim of a sexual act because it was.
I don't see him as
I
Oh,
don't.
go ahead. Hold on, Beard. Go ahead, True. Let's get you in there.
I don't think I. All right. So the breakdown of this exchange to me, he never said he was raped. Kendra alluded to the fact that he was in the exchange. I mean, he just kind of went with it. Me personally, I don't think he got all this information about this woman's agenda of him in the act. He specifically explained that she was a foreigner, that potentially she had a plan and a plot. So quite frankly, he shouldn't have ever been in any vulnerable state, in my opinion, ever, to be exchanging any type of sexual exchange with her without protection. I personally don't know what it's like to be intoxicated, but I do hear that these things do occur when people get a little, their bearings are shifted or whatever. But that's still, to me, not much of an excuse. I don't see him as a victim, to be honest with you. There's no way he got all that information on this girl's agenda in the act. He knew her. And so how this baby came about, why he was put in a state of feeling good and not protecting himself, yeah, this one's on him, in my opinion.
And that's why I think y'all inherently violent, because you lack empathy. And if you were if you had empathy, the way the perspective is happening, where you don't even see a man be as a victim, and you hold him accountable, even though he held himself accountable and talked about his role. But y'all have to be inherently violent to lack this much empathy, is my point. But
I'm gonna need you to sit on somebody's couch, Danielle, and have
I'm
them
gonna put that just because this that said that. You can't do that, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm like, where did you get that from? Nothing in my explanation to me describes violence. I'm simply saying that this, from what I gathered, I'm speaking from my perspective. Kendra is the one alluded that he was a victim based on the verbiage she used. He never said he was a victim. Like you said, he held himself accountable. But he's saying that, you know how it is when these women are trying to get a baby based on citizenship. So he knew her. So in my mind, if I had that type of, information about any young lady I'm engaging with, I'm going to move a certain way, or I'm not going to engage at all. So for him to know this and then still act sexually and then put himself in a vulnerable state, he ain't no victim. Not in this equation.
I think the question
I
is,
say you push violence. You are inherently violent because you lack empathy on a situation. If I'm talking to my friend and I'm talking about it casually, and she like, girl, you good? And I think it's funny, but like, you know how people play all the time, like, oh, he went upside my head. That's not funny. You just got your ass whooped. So I think people make light of situations, even if they are a victim. But I'm talking about how men are not expressing empathy while saying that there isn't some sort of inherent violence. Like you said, in your mind, the way you viewed that, in your perspective, the way you took it in your perspective, shows an inherent towards violence. Because if it wasn't, you would it would do the opposite, and you would empathize and say, yeah, this man was held down. He made a stupid decision, which I agree. He did not make the correct decision. He should have protected himself. But even in not doing that, he still is a victim in the situation because someone held him down and made him under the influence.
So what I like to do is I like to
you taking.
Go ahead.
No, I wasn't gonna say. So you taking two individuals' opinion and you're going to just assume all of us are violent. I didn't agree with that. I felt like he was a victim.
Me too.
I felt like it was. So I disagree with Viz and I disagree with Truth. So I guess Sweeney, you said you too. You thought he was violated?
Yeah, he was violated.
You felt like he was a victim? Okay,
yeah, and the thing
so you got 2 and 2, but so you going to sit there and put that jacket on? Well, it's obvious y'all got to be inherited. How about you say Viz is inherited? You inherited, and you and Truth are both inherited violent, and Sweeney and Hink is not. Why couldn't you say that, ma'am? Or maybe Jay? I don't know what JR stands on it, but you
I don't think
just put it on all of them just because the two individuals sit there said that they feel like he wasn't violated.
Hold on, Danielle. Let me get Cookie in there. Go ahead, Cookie. What are your thoughts about the conversation thus far? What's your take?
That man, I think he's lying about how that went. But if that is what happened, he's definitely a victim. Men can be assaulted, essayed. It's just a lot. I just don't. He doesn't seem like the. I'm not gonna say that because then it's gonna get turned.
I agree with you. I agree with what you're not saying. I agree with it.
Yeah. Like, are you really, sir? So, I think if that is what happened, he's a victim.
Hold on.
I'm struggling with trying to believe that that's what happened.
Yeah.
Let me just believe. I'll land there.
Okay, I do want to say something because I'm gonna give my stance about it, right? So I heard everybody speak, and I kind of aligned with Viz at first, right? You know, he knew what he was doing before he laid down, and so he knew what the consequences was. So is he really a victim, right? But as I listen to Danielle, and I'm hearing Hink and Sweeney's point as well, that aligns with Danielle. When somebody has an expectation for something to happen, or they say do not do it, and then they do it, then at that point, does that make them a victim, right? It kind of makes me think a little bit further when sometimes you talk to women, and when you are assertive, some may look at it as control, and then some may not. So it's all about their perception at that point, right? So when we talk about people's feelings getting invalidated on both sides, like I'm wondering if there should be a question of like, who are we to say if they felt violated or not? So if somebody says they're violated, at what point does it cross over to the point that they were violated versus them not being violated? Like, how do we determine that? Because if that person genuinely feels this way, then should we say that they were violated? Or should we just lean on our own logic in that situation and say, well, I don't think you were violated, so you just wasn't violated?
I think
these are the thoughts that's going through my head right now as we're having this discussion. And I'm just wondering, just to kind of further the conversation a little bit and then go a little bit deeper with this. Go ahead, Drew.
Don't you need rules of engagement in order to know what would be considered a violation? I think what you're saying is great to expand, the conversation. But that's the issue is I've only been on the male side in a sexual interaction. So I know what I'm supposed to do. And then I know what I would assume her to expect. But that is very subjective because every individual is different. That's why I spoke to how the buildup occurred. The way he explained himself seemed like this man didn't just meet this girl. He knew something about her. There was some comfort there. That's what I perceived because he built a story behind it. So I would say if I heard this and I was delineating all the facts, there's no way that I would potentially say you're a victim, sir, because you were able to assume this woman had an agenda. Well, if she had an agenda, that's like someone being told, you walk down here, I'm going to rob you. And you're like, well, I heard you, but I'm still going to pursue. Like, sex is one of those things, especially on a casual basis, that's hard to know what is the rules of engagement. Because I think someone said on the panel, in the act, I think Hink said it, in the act, in the moment's notice, either the male or the female can be like, I'm no longer interested, mid-stroke. But there's no referee to state, hell, we cross boundaries. Like, it's between those two people. It's a social thing. It's an integral thing, character thing. So what are the rules of engagement?